returns to scale. What are the types and returns to scale we will going to discuss. This is very important topic for your examination point of view. So law of returns to scale. We have seen law of variable proportion. One variable is changing, that is labor. Then how the output is increasing at increasing rate. Later increasing at decreasing rate. If we increase additional labor, that becomes declines. Total productivity is declines, as we have seen in law of variable proportion, which is related to the short run. And coming to the long run, law of returns to scale. It represents the proportionate change in output due to changes in the inputs. Okay, as we know that inputs are the factors of production. It may be labor, land, capital, raw materials. Okay, these are the factors of production. We can say that generally we consider land and capital and labor. Okay, so with the help of the inputs, all the inputs, how the output is changing in the long run, that explains the returns to scale. Okay, so here the law of returns to scale, we also call it as input elasticity of returns. We also call it as inputs elasticity of returns or output. What does it mean? If we changes in the inputs or proportionate change in the inputs, how the output is changing, how it is this particularly this input, how it is impacting on the output. Okay, so here we can observe the proportionate of output due to proportionate change in all the inputs. We call it as returns to scale. What is returns to scale? Changes in the output. Okay, it may be increasing or decreasing due to changes in the all the inputs. Generally, we increase the inputs to increase our output. So due to increasing the output, proportionate change in the output, that results in the due to all the inputs, proportionate changes in the inputs, that is returns to scale. There are, three types of returns to scale. Easy to remember. The words itself, it is clearly, when we observe, we can come to know what is that. So here, there are three returns to scale. One is increasing returns to scale, constant returns to scale, and decreasing returns to scale. Okay, decreasing returns to scale. Say, when we are talking about the increasing returns to scale, okay, if we use the inputs, that is capital and labor. Okay, for example, capital, we are using 10 units of capital, and labor, we are using 5 units of labor. Okay, with the help of capital and labor, if the output is more than this capital and labor, okay, simply we can change, we can say that the proportionate changes in the output is more than the proportionate changes in the all the inputs. We call it as increasing returns to scale. We call it as increasing returns to scale. Why? We are with the help of two factors, that is labor and capital. Okay, 5 units of labor and 10 units of capital. But when we are adding this together, output is more than this. Output is more than this. That is why we are calling increasing returns. With the help of capital and labor, we can say that it is increasing returns. So the ratio between particularly the proportionate changes in output due to changes in the proportionate changes in the all the inputs is more than 1. in this case. This increasing returns to scale, the proportionate changes in the inputs due to the proportionate changes in the output due to the proportionate changes in the inputs, we call it as increasing returns to scale. In this situation, we can say that the proportionate changes is greater than more than 1 here. So we can say that I think it's better diagrammatically. I'll show you. It's voice clearly label. Is it not audible? వినిపిస్తలేదా? Somebody said
వినిపిస్తుంది సార్.
yeah, fine. So message చేశారు భార్గవి. మేబీ నీ నెట్వర్క్ ప్రాబ్లం కావచ్చు. బట్
ఆ పీడిఎఫ్ ఫైల్స్ ఏమైనా పెట్టలేరా సార్?
పీపీటీ
పీపీటీ
అదే యాడ్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఇది ఎఫెక్టివ్ ఉంటుంది. అదే టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ ఉంది, దాన్ని చేస్తా. Right. Increasing returns to scale, we are talking about increasing returns to scale. As I said, 3 types of returns to scale. One is increasing returns, constant returns, and decreasing returns. Okay, this is very important and simply we can remember easily. So increasing returns, say the diagram, this table, labor initially the quantity of labor QL is related to labor, QK is capital, Q is the output. With the help of capital and labor, okay, initially 5 units of labor and 10 units of capital using, and more than this, the output is 100. Okay, so that is increasing returns. If we see 10 units of labor, 20 units of capital, these figures exactly meer petala name ledu, they should be increasing rate. Okay, that you have to remember. So here 10 units of labor and 20 units of capital, output is more than this, say 300. That means it is increasing trend, okay, with the help of capital and labor. So proportionate changes in the all the inputs, okay, using for increasing the output, that we have to remember. So see the diagram, just you observe, in y-axis it is capital, and x-axis it is labor. See the gap you have to observe from this 10 to 20, how much is there, the gap 5 to 10, and A to B you observe this between these two and between these two. Okay, that means this portion is less than the AB. Yes or not? When we observe this IQ is isoquant curve, A is isoquant curve, and B1 also isoquant curve. This is returns to scale, this line. And here at point A to B, this is greater than the 10 to 20, or it may be 5 to 10. This is increasing, right? This gap you have to observe. That is clear, one side. So increasing returns means with the help of capital and labor, output is increasing. Simply we can say that output is increasing. The another one is constant returns to scale. Constant returns to scale. See, when we talk about this, if the proportionate changes in the output, that is equals to the proportionate changes in the inputs, we call it as constant returns to scale. What does it mean? Same proportion, how much we are utilizing the capital and labor, that leads to increase the same proportion of the output. See, for example, here it is clearly mentioned 5 units of labor and capital is 10 units. From these two, how much we are getting output? 100. If we increase this double, labor is 5 to 10 units, of labor and capital is 10 units to 20 units. It is increased. So here the same proportion, the differentiation is 5. Here also differentiation is 10 from the capital side. That output also constant. Same proportion here at 510 ఉన్నప్పుడు మనకు 100 units వచ్చింది. At the same time, we increase, it double. 5 to 10 and 10 to 20, then it becomes 200. But when we observe this, see the first one, say compared to the first one, 5 units and 5 units, 5 units of labor, 10 units of capital. Here output is 100 initial stage. If we increase the capital and labor from 5 units to 10 units of labor and 10 units to 20 units of capital, it is increased 300, more than the 200, right? So that is why we call it is increasing trend. When we coming to the constant returns to scale, same proportion it is increased. How much the changes in the capital and labor? How much differentiation? Only 5 units from the capital. At the same time, here also 10. This variation I'm talking about. 10 to 20, how much the differentiation? Only 10. 5 to 10, it is 10, 5 only, right? So due to increasing in the labor and capital, the same proportion that output increased, that we have to remember. See, now you see the changes. It becomes little bit, it is same proportion. How much the 10 to 20, the gap, or we can say this 5 to 10, okay? The initial stage, capital is using 0 to 10 and labor is using 0 to 5, okay? Here IQ at point, it is touching the returns to scale at point A. What does it mean? With the help of 10 capital, with the help of 5 labor, output is 100. Output is 100. How can we say this is isoquant curve is intersecting this line? So that is why it is 100. If we increase the labor and capital, labor from 5 to 10 and capital from 10 to 20, if we increase, okay, same proportion it is increased. That is why it is through the isoquant curve at point B, it is total output is only 200. I think it is clear. And the another one is decreasing returns to scale. Decreasing returns to scale. The output has to decline. That you have to remember when we are talking about decreasing returns to scale. See, if the proportionate change in output is less than the proportionate changes in the inputs, we call it as decreasing returns to scale. Decreasing returns to scale. So that is why the ratio between the proportionate change in output and proportionate changes in the all the inputs is less than 1. In this case, less than 1. First one case greater than 1. Second one constant equal to 1. Okay, that you have to remember. So here decreasing returns to scale. Decreasing returns to scale. See, initial stage, we are using capital 5 units and capital 10 units and labor is 5 units of labor and producing 100 quantity of output. Okay. If we increase the capital and labor from 10 to 20, the margin is additional is 10 and 10 to 5 to 10, that is labor. Here also the differentiation is 5. So if we increase the proportionate changes of capital and labor, that must be less than the proportionate changes of the capital and labor. See, it is less than the initial. If it is no increasing trend, more than this 100, it must be there. And it decreasing, that is the reason why. So it is only 180. It is only 180. If it is from this diagram, I am telling once again, if it is increasing trend, 100 initial stage output, same proportion increased capital and labor, but output is 300, double output. That is why we said that there increasing trend. when we are tracking there in increasing trend, the proportionate all the inputs, okay, greater than 1 there, okay. So here constant returns to scale, same proportion 5 to 10, that is our labor we are using, capital also 10 to 20, initial stage it is 100 for constant I'm telling. Then again if we increase 5 to 10 also 200, that is constant returns to scale we say, due to how much the proportionate changes in the increases in the labor, same proportion 100 to 200 that is increased due to increasing in the this capital and labor, same proportion increased, that is constant returns to scale. Here in decreasing returns to scale, it is declined. It is declined. Why it is declined? That is why we are telling decreasing returns to scale. Because see, 5 at initial stage, capital is using 10 units, labor is using 5 units, producing 100. If we use 10 labor, 20 capital, it must be either greater than 200 or at least 200. But it is how much it is? 180. It is declined. So that is the reason why the proportionate changes in all the output is less than the proportionate changes in the inputs. We call it as decreasing returns to scale. Very important. Decreasing returns to scale. See the diagram. Again, this initial stage capital is using 10, labor is using 5. If we increase capital and labor from 5 to 10, that is labor, 10 to 20, that is capital. Okay. The initial stage, this isoquant represents the total output. At point A, it is intersecting the returns to scale. So it represents the, this is IQ, isoquant curve, this is, so it represents the total output. Here, output is 100. If we increase this capital and labor, this isoquant is shifting upward because it is increasing from A to B, it is shifting, though this one is IQ isoquant curve 2. The output is 180. Output is 180. That is declined. That is declined. So in this represents the another diagram we can observe from this diagram. From A to B, it is increasing returns to scale. Increasing returns to scale. And B to C, it is straight line, constant, stable. That is why we are telling constant returns to scale. First one is A to B is increasing returns to scale because how much the inputs we are using, more than that inputs, output is getting. That is why increasing. Here B to C, it is constant because returns to scale is constant. Constant returns to scale. How much the proportionate changes in the output due to proportionate changes in the inputs are same. That is why we are telling constant returns to scale. From C to A, sorry, C to D, that is decline, decreasing returns to scale. That is declining, decreasing returns to scale. See here, there are economies of scale. Generally, here I'm stopping this slide. Slide is not required. So generally, these economies of scale, okay, you have to remember there are internal economies of scale and external economies of scale. Okay, as a business firm, due to all the averages costs, which includes all the it may be size of the farm, individual farms, or it may be industry, they are incurring the sometimes costs. Okay, so here we have to remember based on the size of the farm. Okay, the terms we are using modern economy, there are in the process of production, particularly output, we have to consider employment. Output at the same time employment. So economies of scale we are talking about. Here there are two types of economies. One is internal economies and the other one is external economies. Internal economies, this type of economies occurred particularly for the firms. Those firms are large size. Those firms are large size. So these economies are particularly not open for the other business purposes whose size is small. These economies of scale, internal economies of scale are occurring only when the firm is large. If the firm is not in a large, what does it mean? It is small. These are not going to be occur. One of the internal economies are there are when you are talking about the reasons for the internal economies. As I said, these are the particularly for the large firms, these internal economies will appear. So here, one of the important reason, technological reasons. If the large firms, particularly they in general when we talk about employment will be very high. They use modern technology with the help of the employees, okay, for producing of output, right? So with the help of machine, they have to utilize proper resources, particularly installed uh, production capabilities or capacities. So here from this technological region, for example, sugar industry is there. It is large farm industry. Okay. So install machinery due to for production purpose process, particularly for sugar. Okay. The revenue may be very large when we are talking about sugar. With the help of they are using technological new technology they are using and getting internal economies of scale. That is the reason. And managerial reasons also there. What is managerial reasons? Generally, large scale of production, when we observe operations divided into two branches. One is supervisors, particularly professionals. Okay, those who are having skills, they are professionals. We can say that. So they can engage wherever they required. Okay, so these professional experts they contribute to improve the productivity because they are having additional skills. Okay, that is why we are telling professionals. With the help of them, if we utilize in a proper manner, these managers or supervisors or professionals, okay, automatically the productivity is increasing, particularly when the farm size is very large. So improvement in the productivity that leads to reduction in the average cost of the production. This is more important because whenever they are using improvement in the productivity with the help of the uh, managerials or professionals, with the help of the technology, they are using additional technology with the help of the skilled professionals. Okay, they are trying to minimize the cost. Then only firms will get profit, right? They try to firms or producers, whoever they are producing the goods and services, their motto is to get more profit. At the same time, their motto to reduce the cost, right? So if the professionals are there, they try to reduce the average cost of the production. So therefore, the average cost of the production in the large farm is less than the small farms. Average cost of the farms are less than the small farms. That means average cost of the small farms are very high compared to the large farms. That you have to remember. And also another economies, we are talking about internal economies, we are talking about large firms or industry. Okay. So another important one is labor economies. Labor economies. So large business firms, they introduce division of labor. labor economists they will get. So what does it mean? Generally, the laborers, okay, when they are going to assign the work based on their skills, based on their skills, they are going to allocate which work is suitable for the which worker, okay, which labor. So they can allocate because they can, with the help of these people, they can try to, utilize in a proper manner, efficiency of worker that will increase. Okay, that we have to remember. So when we are utilizing, these workers, efficient workers in a proper manner, okay, that leads to increase the productivity. So automatically, when we're trying, productivity is increasing means the average cost is declines. Average cost declines. Okay, that we have to remember. Another one is marketing economies. Okay, another one is marketing economies. So marketing generally, I'm talking about the large firms or industry. Okay, so these large business firms, particularly they purchase, raw materials in a bulky manner. That means uh, large quantity at a time they can purchase because this farm is size of the farm is very large. So therefore, they produce, raw materials relatively a cheaper rate relation to the when we are comparing to the, small farms. So while, replacing the commodity in the market, the large farms are, more advantage in terms of paying a lower rate of the commission to the dealers of their products. Marketing economies we are talking about. Generally, these large scale farms are producing, efficient with the help of the labor, with the help of the capital, with technology they are using, producing somewhat, we can say that quality of products. So there is a huge demand for these products, particularly in the market compared to the small farms, small size of the farms. When there is a huge demand for their products, automatically productivity they try to, produce more, and the same time they get more profit compared to the small size farms. So in this case, average cost declines. Average cost declines when the market economies comes. And the another one is financial economies. See, financial economies, large business firms are known as financial institutions. No, they particularly they try to invest a large quantity of amount. So due to this, they raise resources at a lower rate of interest when compared to the small business firms. So from this also they are getting, internal economies of scale with the help of financial economies. These large firms they try to get loans or amount or resources with a lower rate of interest, with the lower rate of interest compared to the small firms. Okay, that is internal economy scale that is we are getting economies they are getting from the financial economies. Then another one is risk bearing economies. Risk bearing economies. What does it mean? Risk bearing. Generally, the large firms, particularly, they spread their investment in the production, various goods and services they try to produce. As a result, what will happen? They can withstand the fluctuations in the economic activities. They can, compensate the loss. If any firm from one or two commodities are getting loss, they try to earn this loss from the other products because these are the large firms. They are producing, different commodities. If one commodity is getting loss, this loss they may overcome from the other commodities where they are getting more profit. So risk bearing, they are actually when they are getting losses, that is risk. Okay, that is bearing. That is the risk is overcoming from the another commodities that we have to remember. But when we are talking about the small size of the, firms, it is very difficult to overcome this risk bearing. Because if the firm is getting losses, they have to shut down. They have to close the firm. So that is the reason why there is a risk bearing economies. Large firms, they can overcome from this risk. That you have to remember. These are the all are the internal economies of scale. There are other external economies also there. So when we talk about the external economies, the firm are or business activities of a particular firm that are industry that increase due to increase in the size. Okay, that is known as external economies. Initial stage, the firm may be even though large, if they try to extend their firm size, it becomes industry or increasing industry size. Okay, that leads to that we are trying to call it as external economies. So here, if a large number of firms are localized in a particular place, together they can arrange the basic infrastructure facilities, like it may be transport one place to another place within the firms are together, they are working. Okay, transportation facilities may be developed, health facilities may be increased, educational facilities, okay, common training facilities. All these are sometimes if they are getting more income, recreation also, they spend some amount of money for recreation. So recreation facilities also increase. So these all are comes under the external economies of scale. This is all about the returns to scale. And important topic, that is cost and revenue curves. When we are talking about cost, here you have to remember types of costs and short run cost curves, long run cost curves. There are two difference are there. So here, when we are talking about the cost concept, when they, a production function, it is in the form of, does not reveal anything about the economic aspect of cost and prices. So in economics, when we observe, there are different costs are there. Generally, money expenditures, particularly they may be, in kind of they uh, produce a producer, they spend some amount of money, which we are calling as cost. Okay, so here there are different costs are there. This cost, particularly money cost, one of the important cost is money cost. We are talking about types of costs. Okay, one of the important one is money cost. Money cost, simply just you remember the money cost, which includes aggregate expenditure which is incurred for producing of a particular quantity of output. Okay, money cost, again once again I'm telling, money cost is incurred due to with the help of the capital and labor. Simply we can say that factors of production. The producer is going to spend some amount of money because he is using factors of production in order to produce some amount of quantity. Once again, I'm telling, producers are using the capital and labor for producing of output. For that, they have to pay some amount of money. That is aggregate expenditure that you have to remember. That is money cost. Okay, this money cost again classified into two types. This money cost is classified into two types. One is explicit cost and the another one is implicit cost. Explicit cost and implicit cost. It may be come for the short run, very important money cost. Okay, so here we are talking about the two types of money cost. One is explicit cost and another one is implicit cost. So explicit cost, the amount which is paid for the all the factors of production which are hide from the outside. This payment maybe includes rent for utilizing of land. When we are using land, we are paying rent. Okay, labor when we are using, we are paying the wages. Okay, when we are utilizing the capital, we are paying interest rate. Okay, so this we all together when we are talking about explicit cost, the amount paid for the all the factors of production. Okay, that includes factors of production payments. That means for labor we are paying wage, for land we are paying rent, for capital we are paying interest rate. Along with this raw materials also the producer the firms are going to use or utilize. Okay, and also they try to use power or sometimes fuel. Okay, and also they spend some amount of money for advertisement, for promoting their products. They have to bear some amount of cost. Okay, that comes under explicit cost. That is advertisement cost. Okay, why they are using advertisement? They have to promote their product. It may be in TV advertisement, it may be in newspaper, it may be in a pamphlet, right? They try to spend some amount of money. That comes under the money cost, particularly in explicit cost. Okay, and also these firms has to bear some amount of money that we are calling taxes. The government, they have to pay taxes for the government. So that also explicit cost. Transportation cost also. Transportation. If the one place to another place, if their products, goods and services, if they're shifting from Hyderabad to Bangalore or Delhi or whatever it may be, that cost also this fellow has to bear, the producer has to bear, that we are trying to tell as explicit cost. Okay, this kind of cost particularly no the firms has to record in their account book. This type of explicit cost they have to maintain a account book, particularly to write all these expenditures that is related to the explicit cost. Coming to the implicit cost. Implicit cost. This cost refers to the case of the those factors which are the entrepreneur maybe himself the causes. Okay, he need not to pay any remuneration for such old factors. So that we call it as implicit cost. For example, as I said, for land they are paying the rent. When they are using the land, they are paying rent. But in this implicit cost, that land may be the own land, it may be the producer's own land. So in that situation, he need not to pay the rent for that land because himself it is own land. So no need to pay the cost, any cost. At the same time, this fellow work in that farm day and night, for example. So in that situation also, he is not getting any salary or what. So not spending any amount of money for working, right? So this comes under the implicit cost. So that you have to remember. So the another important cost is real cost. Another important cost is real cost, which is introduced by Alfred Marshall. Okay, this real cost particularly. So this real cost, we also call it as social cost. Real cost also we call it as social cost. This cost particularly refers to the payment made to the factors of production to compensate for disutilities of rendering of their services. It is computed to in terms of hard work. It may be pain, trouble, uncomfortable. This all involves in the labor when they engage in the production process. So real cost is nothing but if they labor are they are sacrificing their energy or strength and okay at the same time they may do the hard work with pain with sometimes trouble. These all are they are sacrificing. So that real that we are calling as real cost. Okay, so Alfred Marshall defined the real cost, the extortion of the all the different kind of labor, particularly directly or indirectly involved in making together with the substance of rather than the wearing required. Simply the real cost you have to remember, laborers they are sacrificing, they are doing hard work, sometimes leisure period also they work. Getting my point? Sometimes they work in the leisure period also. So these are the real cost according to the no Marshall, Alfred Marshall, that you have to remember. And the another cost is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost was popularized American economist Augustine. According to he introduced this opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost, particularly when we observe any input which is next best alternative use that is sacrificed by present use. The opportunity cost that indicates that a factor could earn in the next best use. For example, if one what we can say that factors of production are for example raw materials are there. With the help of that raw materials that we can use alternative use purpose. Same material we can use alternative uses purpose, for example. So from the there are two options for A purpose or B purpose if we want to use. Which one is giving more benefit with the help of the minimizing the cost? Okay, that automatically the producers can try to utilize that. So that we call it as that when we are choosing B, A is the forgiving for the B, right? So that alternative, we call it as opportunity cost. So the concept of this opportunity cost, particularly highly useful when you are talking about alternative uses of factors, alternative uses of factors of production. That we have to remember in opportunity cost. Coming to the cost function, short-run cost curves. Okay, cost functions are derived from the functions. Particularly, they derive from production function. The production function describes the availability of efficient methods when they are using with the help of factors of production and producing the output. So the cost of production of a firm determined by the prices of the factors of production. As we know that the cost, how we measure the cost when we are purchasing the factors of production, factors, particularly capital and labor, I said. Raw material also we are purchasing. How much we are paying for labor and capital and raw materials? The cost is depending on these factors of production cost, right? That we have to remember. So generally, this short-run cost curves are we are divided into short-run cost curves and long-run cost curves. Short-run cost curves and long-run cost curves. See, the short-run cost curves. In the short run, cost curves that incurred particularly by the firm in two ways. The firms are spending some amount of money that is cost. Okay, we can divide it into two. One is fixed cost. The another one is variable cost. Fixed cost and variable cost. The word itself it is showing something that is fixed cost. Okay, it includes in the farm, existing farm, it may be an industry or farm, okay, there, no regular employees are there. They have to pay, salaries for regular payment for the staff, right? We are talking about fixed cost. So salaries of the, permanent staff, they have to pay. At the same time, for building, they have to pay rent. Constantly, they have to pay in a fixed rate. Equipment, if they are using, technology, they have to pay. Depreciation of machinery, when we call it as tear and wear, we call it as depreciation. If we utilizing, machinery, new machinery over a period of time, that becomes old. So that machine becomes, tear and wear. అరుగుదల తరుగుదల అంటాం. వాడడం మూలంగా ఏమవుతుందంటే that decreases the value of that machine, right? This, okay. So during the short run, particularly the changes in the production will not impact on the fixed cost. That you have to remember. The changes in the production that will not affect on the fixed cost. That you have to remember, because these are the regular costs they have to bear, whether they are producing goods or not, doesn't matter. We have to pay rent, we have to pay salaries for the, permanent staff. We are utilizing the technology, okay, we have to pay some amount of money. This all together we are called as, fixed cost. This is, we call it as fixed cost. According to, Alfred Marshall, these fixed cost are supplementary cost. According to him, he called as, fixed costs are called as supplementary cost or overhead cost. Supplementary costs are overhead cost. That you have to remember. Fixed costs are supplementary or overhead cost. That you have to remember. Then coming to the variable cost. ఫిక్స్డ్ కాస్ట్ జాగ్రత్త గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. ప్రొడక్టివిటీతో సంబంధం లేకుండా భరించేటువంటి కాస్ట్లు. సో హియర్ వేరియబుల్ కాస్ట్, we also call it as, prime cost. Variable cost also we call it as prime cost. Okay, in this cost, these are particularly include the wages for the labor, this cost for the labor, and also for the, for purchasing of raw materials, purchasing of electricity, running expenses of, fixed capital, such as, sometimes fixed capital is there, that is maybe machinery, their fuel is required, that we have to purchase and power, and we have to use the technology, right? So in this case, particularly, we have to, remember these costs are, along with this, particularly the fixed cost, variable costs are changing due to changes in the labor, due to, raw materials, due to electricity. That you have to remember. Okay, and also here, this according to Marshall, these costs are direct costs. According to Marshall, the variable costs are direct cost. Fixed cost, according to Marshall, he said supplementary cost, he said overhead cost, fixed cost. But when we are talking about variable cost, variables means, changing the cost, but fixed cost is not changing, whether production increasing or decreasing or no production. Okay, fixed cost, the firms has to bear some amount of money, because a regular salary, permanent staff they have to pay, building they have to pay rent, equipment they are utilizing the technology. Even if they are not utilizing this also, they have to bear this fixed cost. Coming to the variable, these are the running costs or direct cost. We can say that. Okay, these costs are running costs or the direct cost. Why we are telling directly? We are paying to the, when we are using labor, we are paying directly to the wage rate. When we are utilizing, we are paying the amount for that raw materials. When we are utilizing the proper, electricity, we are paying that rent, electricity bill. Okay, that is the reason why we are calling as variable cost or the running cost. Variable cost or the running cost. Also, we call it as direct taxes. Sorry, direct cost. Direct cost. So here, ma, important questions are. Yes, last class లో ఇచ్చాను నేను ఇంపార్టెంట్.
25 క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇచ్చారు సార్. ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ 25 ఇచ్చారు సార్ మొత్తం.
అవి
టోటల్ మొత్తం
సరిపోతాయి.
యూనిట్.
అవి మోర్ దెన్ ఎనఫ్. అవి మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్ కి సర్క్యులేట్ చేయండి. గ్రూప్ లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు కూడా అడుగుతున్నారు. మేబీ వాళ్ళకి షేర్ చేయండి. ఓకే. సో వీఆర్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ షార్ట్ రన్ కాస్ట్ కర్వ్స్. దిస్ ఈస్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. షార్ట్ రన్ కాస్ట్ కర్వ్స్ హియర్ particularly there are some kinds of cost, particularly total cost. Okay, total fixed cost, total variable cost. Okay, and total average variable cost, total fixed cost, which all are, when we are talking about these costs, see, these are the total costs. These are the total costs. See, this is total, first one is total fixed cost. Okay, this one is total variable cost, this one is total cost, and this one is short run average fixed cost, short run average variable cost, short run average total cost, short run marginal cost. See the differentiation. Short run marginal cost. Any message, give your numbers, I will send you. Okay, right, right, that is fine. Yeah, so short run cost, we are talking about the short run. These all are the short run. Total fixed cost is related to short run, variable cost is short run, total cost is short run, short run average fixed cost also, short run average variable cost also, total short run average total cost also, and marginal cost also. These all are the short run cost curves. So how these are occurred? See, as I said, even the variable costs are not using, we are not producing anything. For example, that is the reason why Q is, output is 0, for example. Okay, still we have to bear some amount of cost, that is total fixed cost. As I said, we have to pay salaries for the regular employees, we have to pay rent for the land, right? So that is why we have this fixed cost doesn't change. That is why all this up to 0 to 6, it is fixed. Variable cost, when the output increases, variable cost will be there. So output is 0, variable cost also 0. That is the reason why 0. Total cost, when we add together this total fixed cost and variable cost, we get total cost. So 60 plus 0, how much? It is 60 only. So here, short run average fixed cost, that is 0. This is variable cost also 0. Marginal cost also 0. But when we the increase, this quantity of labor, okay, here the total fixed cost is 60, variable cost is 30. When we add together, we get this 90. Okay, this average fixed cost is 60 because 160, 1 by 60, 60 by 1. Okay, this by this will get the average. Okay, so that is 60. Then how much the variation from this 60 to 30, how much it is the differentiation? That is 30, right? So this variable cost, this is variable cost. So total cost, when we add together this TC, short run average total cost, this is MC marginal cost. when we use additional labor, okay, how much changes in the total cost? See, 60 to 90, how much the differentiation? 60 to 90, it is 30, right?
30.
That
అవును
is
సార్.
marginal cost. Yeah, that is marginal cost. Whenever we are adding together total cost and variable cost, we get TC, total cost, and this marginal cost, the variation of this total cost, variation of the total cost. 90 to 100, how much the differentiation?
10 సార్.
10, right? So this 10 is here. Then 100 to 105, how much the differentiation? Only 5,
5.
right? So likewise, we get marginal cost values. When we add total fixed cost and variable cost, we get this. Okay? These
ఓకే
are
సార్.
all the about the short run cost curves. Why this total fixed cost is horizontal to the x-axis? If it is like this vertical, so it is horizontal to the x-axis because the cost is fixed. That is the reason why whether the output is changing or not doesn't matter. Okay, they have to bear some amount of cost, that is total fixed cost, and total variable cost. See, this is total. Even cost output is 0, no cost. When output increases, see, output increases, cost also increases. Total variable cost also increases. That is the reason why it is like upward slope. Short run cost. Say why this TC is upward from the above the TFC, because even this VC, TVC, total variable cost. If output is 0, TVC also 0, no cost, but total fixed cost will be there. That is the reason why it is horizontal to the x-axis. Total cost, even output is 0, as I said that 60, earlier as I said, that they have to bear the firms. That is the reason why it started from the point here. Okay, that is the reason why it is from that point of view. And the average fixed cost, when the output increases, average fixed cost declines. That is the reason why it decreases. Output increases, average cost also decreases. And this average variable cost, short run average variable cost. Here also, say, initial stage cost decreases and when output increases, and later this short run average cost curve is declines. Okay, this total average total cost also, short run total average cost curve also, it is U-shaped curve, because when output increases it declines, later it increases. That you have to remember. Due to time constraint, this is also. And the long run cost curves, you have to remember this one. This one is the long run LAC, long run average cost curves. When we add together all the short run cost curves, okay, short run total cost, average total cost, when we add together all these, we get long run average cost. Long run average cost, initially it decreases, later it increases. This is all about the cost curves that you have to remember. Is it clear?
క్లియర్
Yes,
సార్.
Yeah, I have given you the important questions. Just you focus that important question that will help you more.
ఓకే సార్.
Thank you, sir.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
sir. Class is over. double nine. Double nine, 890, double one.